to talk about innovation. This is a game we played was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Didn't play this version of it, but we played a newer version.
An older version.
Oh, you had an older version?
Yeah.
Okay. Played an older version, so this is a slightly newer, I guess.
Yeah.
Then, well, if you older, it would imply newer. This is kind of like I think I'm still dumbed down from that Rulebook the other day. All right, so if you want to follow along and get some more brilliant comments like that, hit that subscribe button so you can learn all about older and newer, what that means.
Or at least see us being confused.
Older, newer. Yeah.
By a couple months.
Years?
Yeah. A year.
Okay. Those two. Either way, back to the game.
Yes.
As far as the quality of the components. Well, no, before we get to that.
Okay, well, thank you, Randy.
Why don't you just speak on it?
So Innovation originally came out in 2010. It plays 2 to 4 people. Designer is Carl Chuddick. The art, there's a lot of artists here, so probably because of all the different expansions they got for it. But Alana Cervanek, Carl Chuddick, Kara Judd, Robin Olassen, Anders Olassen, Christopher Saul, and Cyril Vanderhagen. Published by Asmodee Games. MSRP is $20, and there's 4 expansions that could be mixed with the base. Those are also $20 a piece.
Okay. This game, make no mistake, this is a cutthroat game.
It is very much a cutthroat game.
If you are squeamish and don't like playing games where you're going to have a lot of take that, this is not the game for you.
Stay away from it.
Yes. But if you're in the mood for that, it actually is a lot of fun as long as you don't take it personally.
Right. I enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought I would.
Yeah. So as far as the quality components, it's all cards. That's all you got. There's
nothing special about them.
Pretty thick though.
Yeah,
there's no texture, but they're pretty good quality cards.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played this a couple times, but we haven't had the need to sleeve it yet. But I probably will sleeve it at some point.
That we'll get Miranda to play it.
Probably not, because she does not like when you attack. It does have a little cheat sheet that is your player board that you can use.
And it also helps you organize your cards.
So apart from that's it, really. Yeah. There's that in the rulebook in the box. It's a tiny box, easy to travel with.
Yep.
Because the card quality is pretty good, I think I'm gonna give this a 6. I don't think there's anything outstanding about it, but they're good card stock.
I think so, but I think 6 is a little high because it's just there's nothing else in it. I mean, Catan has nice cardboard pieces and little wooden roads, and there's a lot more, and that's a 5. So to say that this is better than
what are you going to penalize it on? I mean, it is cards.
I'm not saying it should be penalized, but I'm not saying it should deserve a bonus either. And so, I mean, I can't give it any better than a 5.
Yeah. All right. As far as theme, I mean, it's completely layered on. It is absolutely.
It is a civilization building game based off of the card play.
Yeah. I mean, the cards do ramp up from over the ages as you go through the game. They have different eras. Some of that is a bit frustrating at times, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But as far as I can't see anything above a 5 on this. There's absolutely no theme.
I agree. There's no theme at all.
And the art is
this game is all about gameplay.
Iconography is basically the art. There's nothing as far as art other than on the backs of the cards. I do like the way the numbers kind of advance.
Yeah, that's different than my version.
No, yours had the different numbers.
Yeah, it did, but not how each era looks different.
No, they did.
Did they?
Yeah. All the numbers looked almost identical.
I guess I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah. I mean, the caveman ones are writing on the walls. They write the one. That's pretty cool. They probably wouldn't have had numbers. But yeah, I mean, the Roman numerals weren't used, but they used the kind of the what you would see on a Roman wall.
Okay. Well, I guess I just didn't pay attention to it.
So yeah, I just can't see giving it anything more than 5.
I agree.
As far as the rulebook's fine. It's tiny. This is actually, I think, bigger than the one that was in the box you had.
Yeah, I had a smaller box version. It wasn't as thick. It wasn't as wide. But in the rulebook is probably double the size of the one I had.
So yeah, I mean it functions well. It taught the game effectively. We had a few questions, but we found them all in the rulebook. We didn't have to go online.
And we figured it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I did just get a laugh. I was just refreshing my memory on what the rulebook was before we started scoring it, and they have a glossary basically of terms, and they got game terms explaining what they are. And one of them is fun. It says it's a mandatory rule. You must have it or else. So I got a kick out of that. But yeah, I mean, in general, it does its job, does it fine. There's no real, there's a couple examples, but nothing real advanced in it.
There's even a team rules variant.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. So I'll probably give this a 7. There's nothing great, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So moving on to gameplay. So this game, you're going to start out the game with basic cards from the level 1 stack. And by the way, this does play 2 to 4 players.
Yes.
And it's a pretty quick game. 30 minutes to 60 minutes is the average. It says ages 14 and up. I don't think that is a hard and fast rule from what we saw. I don't think there's any reason you couldn't play with somebody slightly younger. As long as they don't.
As long as they don't take it personal when you get attacked.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to gameplay. So you're going to start in the era 1, which is prehistory, and you're going to have a hand of these cards. But you're going to end up using these cards. You can take a series of actions. So one of the actions is you can meld, which means you play a card from your hand to the table.
Or on top of the same color.
Yes, it can be a new color or it can be a same color. So if you've got another color, well, of course I'm going to get all different colors. Yep. So if you have the same color, you play it on top and it covers it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another action is to draw. You can draw a card of the suit that or of the number that's the highest number you have in play at the time. So right now these are all 1s. I would have to draw a 1. You can achieve. So if you achieve, that's claiming one of these achievements. There's 5 major achievements you can get, and there's some cards that let you get these for cheaper than what the requirements are on them. And then there's also, in the middle of the board, there's 1 card pulled out of each deck, up to 9, that is an achievement that you can claim as well if you meet the criteria of having a score high enough and a level high enough to claim it. And then Dogma means you're actually triggering the effect on the card. So on the cards...
Of the top card.
Yeah, the top card. You can't dig underneath the cards. Right. But if you trigger the top card, and you trigger the entire card. So if it's got multiple perks on it, you trigger all of them, and you do them sequentially.
Right. And the really cool part about the Dogma is that if other people share the same icon, and if it's equal or greater than, you get to do that action too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. I know you don't like the follow ability that was with in Tiny Epic Galaxies, but that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Well, but in this case, you got a perk back of being able to draw a card if anybody did it. In addition, you still got to do it. So it wasn't like somebody got a better turn than you did. Which I
understand, but I do. But I thought it was kind of neat.
So, and when you're triggering it, somebody's got more icons. Yeah. So you made that conscious decision.
Because everything is on the board.
Exactly.
So
there's no hidden. Some of these trigger actions will have demands in them, and that's where things get
where it get brutal.
So if you trigger something and you demand something, then everyone has to obey and comply if they're able.
Yeah.
And there's some really brutal ones
where I just have to literally give them the best card that I had scored, and I get their worst card that they scored.
Yeah, that happened to us a lot in that last game. And then there's other ones where, like, I had put a card that was my most powerful card into play, and then you played something that took it from me and put it in your play.
And then Tim took it from me, and I took it back. And
it's like the only person, the one that got played it, is the only guy that didn't get it. So it was very frustrating. But, that happens.
Yeah.
And yet I was still, like, right there neck and neck, possibly winning at the end. So, I mean, it was definitely an interesting game and an interesting concept. And again, it's a lot of take that. As long as and if you know that if you're getting it taken from you, you're probably going to be able to take something and do something to them the next turn. So it's not, I don't mind if it's brutal as long as that's brutal across the board. There's not somebody that's just completely beat up by it.
The only thing I would say complaint-wise is that there's obviously luck because you're drawing cards.
Yeah.
And you may... unfortunately just not draw the right cards where you could attack them back because you really will need to, because this game, that's what it's about. It's taking advantage of your cards and hopefully being able to then take advantage of your opponent's cards.
Yeah. So the other major thing that you can do that we haven't talked about is some of the cards will have a references, abilities on it that you can trigger, like splay, and that's a really important one.
And it's a really cool one too.
So whenever you do have cards that are covered on your table, you can splay if you've got a card that lets you do that. And depending on which direction it tells you to display, you'll reveal icons that are buried underneath, and it will give you more power in those levels to trigger. So those icons are all important when it comes to triggering dogma, because whoever has the most is going to have the influence and the power to trigger the dogma on those.
And it either lets you splay left, right, or up, but the card specifies which direction you can go. And once you start a certain direction, you can't change it.
Yeah, you can't play one to the left and one to the right within a suit. You got to go all the same direction. And one of the achievement cards that you can get is based upon all of your suits being in play and all of them splayed exactly the same direction. And I'm like, that just seems unlikely. So yeah, getting these achievements is tough, but that's how you win the game. Well,
that's one way.
If you get, I believe it's 5 achievements, maybe 6, I can't recall. But if you collect a number of these achievements, then you can win the game. That's one way.
There's also instant win cards.
There's instant win cards that usually come up in like 10 or 9, I believe.
So if you do all this, you win the game.
And then the other way is if you deck out on 10, then the game will end immediately. And that way it turns into the achievements don't matter anymore. It's pure score.
And that's the one I was going for, because I was killing them score-wise. I had a lot of points. But Randy and Tim, the other guy that played with us, they were all about getting achievements, and they did it faster than I
don't think you had a single achievement, did you?
I didn't have a single one, but I had like 80 points in cards.
Yeah, you had a ton of points in cards. I did not want to compete with you on that. And we got about halfway through the 10.
Yeah, I was getting close because I had 2 different... besides it just being civilization, another neat part that we both like is that it's engine building. So you're able to get some engine. Now I had some engines going with getting multiple 10s out at the same time. So.
Yeah, that was my problem. My engine stalled around 7 or 8. That's where I fizzled after that. And I could not get, it's like I finally got a card that was going to help me, and then you stole it. It was just, So it gave Tim the opportunity to get ahead of me as on the achievements. But it did enjoy all the back and forth in this game, and normally I don't. Normally I get frustrated with that, and I probably got frustrated at the time a bit.
Yeah, but there isn't player elimination, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So if there was player elimination, I probably would have hated it.
Yeah. I do not like games with player elimination, but there's just a lot of fun in this game. Now, one of the things I got frustrated with is I didn't notice on the back of this. It actually gives you an indication of the icons and what ages you'll see them in.
Right.
And I
was really pushing for the castles, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I had a card. 2 of the cards I had that gave me these type of achievements right from the start.
Right.
And I got one of them, and the other one I had to play from my hand at one time 4 castle cards with castles on them. And I had 3 in my hand, and I had a card.
He kept fishing for
I had a card to let me play all 4 cards if I would have got that 4th one. And I kept fishing for like 3 eras after that. I was fishing. And I'm like, I'm starting to see a pattern here. There's no castles coming up. And it turns out it's only in ages 1 through 3. And it was on the card, but I never turned this over to look at the back. I had it this side, and I never flipped it. And I would have known I was wasting my time. So I think that's what threw me into getting behind in the game was I wasted 3 eras just trying to get that stupid castle. But I mean, it was fun. It was a good laugh, regardless. So yeah, as far as gameplay goes, I think I'm an 8.5 on this one.
I agree. It's a lot of fun. There's it's very tactical. I mean, there's a little bit of strategy, but the strategy is really mitigated by the luck side of it. So it's kind of hard to plan around that. But it's definitely tactical, and it's it's got that take-tack that's not super brutal where you just hate everybody afterwards. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and it's easy. I mean,
and it's easy
super
to
portable.
play.
You can throw this in your bag along with a bunch of other cards.
Throw it
on the floor. It's also good for that.
Yeah.
But it's super easy to carry and take along, not so much to hold, I guess, obviously.
And I think it'd be easy to teach once, maybe you got to play it a couple times to really kind of learn the strategy so then you could teach those strategies to someone else. But I think after a couple plays, it'd be super easy to teach too.
Yeah. Oh, and on the achievements in the middle I mentioned earlier, you have to get whatever level it is 5 times that in score, plus have a card of that level or higher in play. So
for example,
for level 1, you have to have 5 points in score and have a level 1 in play, which is pretty much achievable right away.
But at least they circle the number for the points that you have to have. So they make that part. So if math's hard, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So in some combination of the 5 standards that are out and the points in the middle, you have to get a total of 6, I believe. So,
and if I really was paying attention, I had enough points. I could have got those cards in the middle. I just completely forgot about it.
Yeah. So I mean, but you have to take an action to do it.
Yeah.
So you get 2 actions on every turn. I don't know if I mentioned that. So yeah, all in all, I really did enjoy this game, and I definitely had forgotten all about having it. I'm glad you brought it because I knew I had it, and I just never thought about it.
And I think I got it on the cheap. Someone on Board Game Geek sold me 2 versions. It's an older version of the base game and an expansion. So we didn't try the expansion at all, but I was really happy that I got to learn it for the first time, and I definitely want to play it again.
Yeah, well, now I'm going to track down the expansions for you. Now you told me they're still in print. I can get them from George. All right, well, that's our assessment of innovation. Hopefully you can probably track this down if yourself if you like these kind of games.
And it's a cheap game.
Yeah,
so.
Super easy, super cheap, fun to play.
Yeah, take advantage.
Throw yours on the floor too if you want.
If you want. Throw it on the ground.
You probably want to after the first couple games. But stay at it. You'll like it after a while.
Absolutely.
All right. So until next time, make sure you hit that subscribe button again. Not again. Like we always say that. And it's like, no, one time. One time. I think we've lost a few subscribers from hitting it more than once accidentally. So just one time, hit it, and stay with us.
And comments, please. Let us know if there's something that you want us to play or go through. We'll be happy to do it.
Yeah, if we own it. If not, we'll probably track it down too. Yep. All right, until next time. Bye.
Bye.